Now I want to start to get together the other pieces that I'm going to need for this table. This is the other half of the board. Remember, this is the half we took, resawn, laminated it, used for the base of the table. This is the other half of the board. You can see from this half of the board, this is where I had bandsawn it before. This half of the board, this is the outside of the log where the bark was that I removed. So that sapwood is a little whiter on a poplar tree, and it's a greenish color, sometimes purplish, but it'll turn to a brown as it oxidizes with the air. So I've decided for the top of the table, since this is a fairly vertical grain, cut straight through the log, I think for the top of the table I'm going to take this piece which is a good 2 1/4 thick. I can resaw it in half on the bandsaw, and I can book match this so that the top of this particular table maintains this white edge on each side with a nice vertical grain going across. It'll be a very stable top, and I think it will look the best for this particular table. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to cut this a little narrower because I don't quite need a top this wide. Cut this a little narrower, clean it up on the joiner and the planer, and I'm going to put it through the bandsaw and resaw it, and we're going to see what those two pieces look like for the top of our table. I brought the poplar board over now that I'm going to use for the top of the table. What I need to do is flatten this, flatten it on the joiner, thickness it on the planer, and then come back to the joiner and straighten this edge out much like I did for the base. This particular joiner, this particular machine is a 20-inch Oliver joiner. It's used to flatten. It's the first process of the roughing out lumber for a piece of furniture is you have to flatten and straighten the boards. This particular machine is a 1970s vintage Oliver 166 20-inch joiner. A good American-made piece of cast iron machinery. It's been around. It came out of the Allegheny Ludlam steel plant in Pittsburgh. It was used in their pattern shop. So I'm sure it'll be around long after I'm gone. There's an in-feed and an out-feed table on a joiner. The in-feed table is slightly lower than the out-feed table. The out-feed table is actually level with the top bark of the blade, so that as I push a board across here, that's going to cut it and send it level with the other end of the table. The tables are perfectly in parallel with each other. So the joiner is a very critical tool in the preliminary processing of the lumber and the furniture that you're going to use for the piece of furniture that you're going to be making. Okay, this is an Oliver 24-inch surface planer. I just ran the poplar board across the joiner and cleaned one face out flat, straight and true. I'm going to send it through the surface planer. What it will do is the bottom surface I cleaned up will ride on the bed of the planer. The top of the planer has a cutter head in. It will thickness this to a consistent thickness the whole way through and through across the entire length and width of the board. So it may take a pass or two to get through there and clean this side up. You can see the board, it still has a rough sawn marks on the outside of it versus the side that I've cleaned up on the joiner, which shows the true color of the board itself.